Welcome, lovely listeners, to Soul Stirred, stories of growth and the human experience. I'm Emily Garcia.
And I'm Casey Clark.
We will be your guides on this journey. We are so glad you are here.
Each week we'll come together, sometimes with other incredible thinkers, creators, and adventurers, to generously share stories of self-discovery, recovery, triumph, and what it means to live a life on purpose.
No matter where you are in your own journey, connection is here for you at Soul Stirred.
Settle in, take a deep breath in, and let's inspire each other.
Welcome to Soul Stirred. I'm in a Toastmasters club that I joined about 2.5 years ago. At the time, I wanted to just get more confident and learn how to be a better public speaker. I wanted to do more workshops and more public speaking, but I didn't really know exactly where that would go or what it would look like for me. So I joined this Toastmasters club, and over the last couple of years, it has really become a very special place for me. Partly because, of course, I'm growing, but also because of other people who are in the club. There's something about doing something that's challenging and doing it with other people that makes you grow together. So the club is made up of people. There are some people who've been in it or in Toastmasters for a long time. And then there are people who are new and newer than me, much newer than me. But it's a really cool experience of being able to get up and talk and then also give feedback to people, because giving feedback and getting feedback is really hard, but it's something we should all be practicing. So a couple of months ago, I'm at a Toastmasters meeting and I sat next to Brian. Brian has been in the club for a while. I don't know how long, but he did a TEDx talk. I don't know, sometime in the last decade. Well, another member of our club sent it out to everyone in October, and I left it unread on my email. I really want to watch it, but I wasn't finding the time to do it. So finally, right before this meeting that I'm talking about, I watched his TEDx. That day I get there and I said, Brian, I watched your TEDx. It was really good. And then I had a moment of self-disclosure. It's the kind of thing, like, I don't always want to say things out loud, because once I do, I'm going to be held accountable in some way. I'm guessing you can relate to that experience. But I said, Brian, I really want to do a TEDx talk someday. And he said, oh, okay. Then the meeting started. We go through the meeting, and toward the end, Brian turned to me and said, there is a Toastmasters contest coming up. There were 2 categories in the contest. One is table topics, which means you get up on stage. The MC for the event, or the table topics master, has a question for you, and they don't tell you ahead of time what the question is going to be. In fact, all of the people who have signed up to do a table topic speech are sequestered into a room. So unless there are people going after you, you don't get to see their speeches and you don't know the question. But table topics is an extemporaneous speaking topic. So you get up, they tell you the question, they repeat it a second time, and right on the spot, you speak for 2 minutes. And you have to be done by 2 minutes, 30 seconds, or you're disqualified. And Brian said, if you sign up for table topics, I will sign up for the international speech contest. And the international speech contest is a prepared speech. So you do know what you're going to talk about, and it's 5 to 7 minutes. I had this immediate oh no, I told him what I want to do, and now he's challenging me. He's holding me accountable in the way that I knew he would. But I said, okay, not totally sure that I was excited about it, but I knew that the challenge would be good for me. So I signed up for the table topics contest. Then at the end of February, I go and I compete. Brian competes in his category. I compete in mine. My friend Kay, who recently joined my club, comes to support us, and it's a lot of fun. Well, I won. I got first place in my category. There were different groups, and there would be a first place winner and 3 different groups for table topics. So those 3 groups end up advancing to go to the division level. I'm excited, but to be honest, there's a part of me that's like, well, this is kind of like when your kid is in a sport and they go to playoffs and you're going, oh, That's great. I'm really glad you won, but that now means more of a time commitment. So it's a mixed bag. I'm really excited and so proud that I won. In fact, I come home and the certificate they gave me, I hung it up next to my desk so that I could see it every day. But I'm also like, well, where is this going to go? And is it going to be a huge time commitment? And maybe some of that was a little bit of fear. Like, okay, I've won. What if I don't do very well in the next one, but I feel more pressure to do well? But I go to the next level on March 28th. On that day, I was not the first person to speak. In fact, out of the three who had advanced to that level, I was the third one to talk. So I was sequestered in the room, didn't get to hear another table topic speech. So had no idea how they did, but felt like no matter what, it's going to be fun. And I'm going to go into this enjoying myself. And if I take third place, I still have done something totally outside of my comfort zone and challenged myself, and I still succeeded to get to that level. So I do my table topics speech, and in the end, I get first place again. Very cool, right? Again, I have that moment of like, this is so cool. I'm so proud. But that means I'm going to the next level. For table topics, the final level is a district contest, which is at the annual conference for table topics. And that's coming up on May 1st. I'm very excited, and it feels like playoffs again for my kid and feeling pressure. But I know if I go into it and I have the same kind of mentality, like I'm just going to have fun, I'm going to be challenged, I'm going to grow from the experience, then it doesn't really matter how I place. There is something in psychology called inattentional blindness. It basically means that our brains cannot process all of the information that's coming at us constantly. I've heard these crazy numbers and I couldn't tell you what they are, but it's something like there are billions of bits of information every single second, but our brains can only process a tiny, tiny percentage. It's something like 100 bits out of the billion. So what that means in real life is there are always things going on, but it's what we choose to focus on that we remember. If you choose to focus on having fun, you're going to find ways to have fun. If you choose to focus on finding the little glimmers, glimmers are like these tiny moments of beauty in life, you will find glimmers. And the opposite is true. If you focus on the world is unsafe, it's bad, people are bad, you will find that to be true because we just can't process everything. And our brains want us to tell them what we want to take in. If you've ever heard the idea that I never see yellow cars, but as soon as you say that, because you've gone, I don't see yellow cars, you're thinking about yellow cars, and then you see yellow cars everywhere. I've done that exact thing. But if we aren't intentional about what we're focusing on, we can get really comfortable. And when we're comfortable, we're not growing. I know that in my life, there was a time early in my early adulthood when things were really good. I mean, I didn't have a lot that was like happening that was worrisome or caused me a lot of stress, and I was comfortable. But then when bad things have happened, like when I went through a divorce, and my entire identity, it felt like it was like in a snow globe, shaken up, and I didn't know where it was going to land. I was forced to get uncomfortable, which meant that I had to grow. I had to start to learn, who am I and what do I want? I had to turn off that inattentional blindness. Well, maybe not turn it off. I just had to decide, what am I going to focus on? Because if we aren't choosing what we're focusing on, we will naturally seek whatever is physically, emotionally, psychologically comfortable, and then we're not growing. There's a book called The Happiness Advantage. It's written by Shawn Achor. Shawn is Shawn. And The Happiness Advantage is one of my favorite books. Achor talks a lot about the idea of happiness and success. There is a thought or a theory that once we're successful, we're going to be happy. Once I get that car, once I get that job, once I land the person that's my other half, once I have kids, once I move into a bigger house, once I travel to that place, you can go on and on and on. I will be happy. The opposite is true. When you are happy, when you choose to be happy, you find success. This is probably going to upset some people because it makes it sound like it's a toxic positivity kind of thing. Like, oh, just, fake it, pretend everything's okay. And that's not the point. There are always going to be bad things that happen in the world. There are going to be bad things that happen in our lives. And we do have to feel all of the emotions. We can feel sad, irritated, angry, hurt, jealous, and we have to allow ourselves to also feel the positive emotions, which I know firsthand a lot of people tell me they feel guilty about. How can I feel happy? How can I enjoy my life when things are not okay in the world? But we have to choose it. And here's an example of why. In the Happiness Advantage, ACORS cites a study where they followed doctors and they put some of the doctors into a control group where they primed their brain for happiness. Priming your brain for happiness means that you do something that intentionally makes you feel good. So it can be writing down what you're grateful for, writing a thank you note to someone, remembering a positive experience, having a brief meditation, anything like that. If you stop and you allow yourself to feel the feelings with it, you are priming your brain. So they prime these doctors' brains for happiness. And what they found is the doctors whose brains were primed were able to diagnose correctly twice as fast as the doctors who were in the other group. They also found that the doctors who focus on priming their brain and doing something that feels good before seeing patients were much more creative. I don't know about you, but I want a doctor. I want any kind of provider who I'm working with to have primed their brain so they are in a good space and they're going to be more creative, meaning thoughtful about like, what are all the possibilities for what is going on with this person, and that they can give me a quicker diagnosis. That isn't just true for doctors, though. We can do that for ourselves. We can choose to find some happiness, prime our own brains in the moment, and then go into our world, whether it's in your personal life, in your marriage, in your relationship with your children, with other family members, with friends. Prime your brain before you interact with them, and you will show up in a much better way. It's true at work too. So go back to that first day when I am walking into my very first contest. That morning, I sat on my couch and I set a 5-minute timer on my phone. I sat there and I took some long, slow inhales and exhales, and I visualized myself up on the stage, just having fun. A thing happens in my body when I do that kind of thing, maybe 2 or 3 minutes in. I don't know because my eyes are closed and I'm not seeing the clock. But I can literally feel a shift where I'm like, I've done it, because your brain and your body don't know the difference between something that you visualize versus something that actually occurred. So I did it on the first day. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it again before that second contest. And it felt so good. And the reality was, when I went into the second contest, I truly was excited and just said, I'm going to have a good time. I repeated what I did the first time because that had worked. Had I not placed first in, the first place spot, it would have been okay. Am I grateful I got first place? Yes. But I was having fun regardless. So I encourage you to do the same. Before you do anything else today, take a moment and prime your own brain. It can be just 1 minute. If you have 5, set a timer on your phone and do the same thing. Write down what you're grateful for, something that's unique, something that occurred in the last 24 hours. Write 3 things. Notice how that feels in your body. Write a thank you note to someone. Do a brief meditation. Sit and just breathe, or think about a time that made you happy. Have a great day.
Are you looking for hope, healing, and real connection on the journey through sex addiction or betrayal trauma? LitPath is inviting you to join us June 25th to 27th in Nashville for the CSBD Hope for Healing Conference, the nation's leading event focused on awareness, recovery, and reducing stigma. This conference is for individuals in recovery, partners and couples seeking healing, and clinicians or coaches looking for advanced training and continuing education credit. Hear from leading experts, experience powerful sessions, and connect with a community that truly understands.
Hi there, this is Tim Stein.
I'm Dr. Jake Porter.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Vitoni.
Visit csbdhopeforhealing.org. That's csbdhopeforhealing.org. Use code PODHOPE25 for an exclusive 25% discount. Break the silence. Reduce the stigma. Find hope and healing. We'll see you there.
Listeners, thank you so much for joining us today as we bring you stories of growth in the human experience. We appreciate you, and we have a request for you. If you will, take 30 seconds to do these 3 things for us. 1, follow or subscribe to Soul Stirred Podcast. This makes sure you never miss an episode and helps us to make sure you never miss an episode. Head over to your preferred platform, click the Soul Stirred Podcast show page, and click the plus sign or the follow button. Second, we'd love it if you could give us a 5-star rating while you're there. Finally, choose your favorite episode and share it with a friend.
We are so grateful to all of our listeners for your continued support helping Soul Stirred grow and ultimately inspire others through authentic connection. Don't hesitate to reach out with ideas, stories, or questions. We are always eager to hear from you. Our email and social links are found in every episode's show notes. Until next time, keep stirring your soul and embracing your journey.
Take good care of yourselves and of each other. Bye-bye.